identify tasks which are consuming a lot of time but do not require manual intervention, that sort of repetitive task can be automated.
Okay, how can a business identify the right process to automate?
So I would say, the key formula to identify is, what are the most repetitive tasks that we are doing, which tasks are consuming most of the time, the high volume processes, that sort of thing. So, they should identify those processes and those specific steps in the processes which are consuming maximum time intervention. Those need to be identified and those need to be automated.
Okay, moving on, what are the biggest mistakes businesses make when they're trying to automate with AI?
The biggest mistake I would say when business is trying to automate with AI is, a lot of businesses are just trying to automate because they feel that because we have AI, we have to automate something. So that's not the right approach, I would say. Just do not try and automate. That would lead to more problems than it solves. So ideally, as I said, there has to be some sort of an analysis, evaluation done on which activities are repeated tasks, which activities are taking maximum time, where there is a low risk of automation. So that sort of task or activities can be automated, not everything. So that's what I would say the biggest mistake businesses are making.
Okay, talking about the startup, should a startup automate early or wait until it grows?
There is a decision making which has to happen. So early stage startup usually may not have that much of data. They may not be getting too many customers to deal with, etc. And that's where they need to understand and build a personal connect with the businesses. So while technically it's not wrong for the startup to start automating things early, but if that is done, there is a high risk that they would never, the actual core team members of the startup would not get a complete understanding of what the customers are demanding, or how they interact, etc. So that learning curve of the core team members will not happen. And because of that, I would still feel from a business strategy perspective, I would still feel that they should not jump into automating things right at the beginning. Yes, when the volumes start growing a little, then it makes sense, so that they can save some time. But this is very I would say this is something where the critical thinking of the, let's say, the founders, co-founders has to come in automation. But if initial stage some of that work is taken up by the team itself, then it will help them learn more about their customer sales processes, etc. Otherwise they will not have very structured processes.
Okay, what business processes are usually the easiest wins for AI automation?
A lot of things, something like a lead qualification, for example. A company wants to qualify the lead and they have got a particular process, that sort of thing. Process next best action is something which can be easily done. Customer support, the simpler tickets can be automatically resolved by automation, or with the help of AI agents. So these are the areas which automation can take up, where there is very, very minimal or almost no decision making or human intervention required.
Okay, how do you calculate whether an AI automation is actually worth implementing?
First of all, we'll have to, as I said, it all starts with a bit of analysis of the current process. So try and understand the current process, try and understand the biggest time consuming factors or the repetitive task, the volume of it. Try to do an analysis on that. Then, try to figure out what sort of effort would be required to automate that. And the third thing would be, what would be the risk of that task not happening properly? So what is the success ratio there? And then, you will have to do a little bit of comparison to understand that, okay, fine, is it worth? Are we going to get the ROI doing this automation? And if it makes sense, they should basically go for it.
Can AI automation actually improve the customer experience?
Yes, it certainly can. Not just AI automation. Prior to this also, we used to have a lot of automation, and automation can certainly improve the customer experience to a great extent, with a little bit of a caveat there. So where does it help actually improve the customer experience? It helps because it lets you respond faster to the customer. So customer is not having that kind of a long waiting period, etc. So the solution can be provided to a customer quickly. They get quick response, they get notified around each step of what is happening, etc. So all these things are what would create a very good experience for the customer. At the same time, because it's AI automation, sometimes it may not be what customer actually wanted, and that's where the customer may start feeling a little irritated. So yeah, so I would say majority of cases it is going to certainly help the customer experience, but in some cases it will also be something where the customer may not be very happy and satisfied because of this.
Okay, this is one of the most asked questions. Where should humans stay in the loop when AI is making business decisions?
So I would say when AI is making the business decisions, it should not be AI making the business decision. There always has to be an oversight by a human there. So just completely relying on what AI is suggesting, or the decisions made by AI will not be the right approach. I would always recommend that there has to be a human oversight engaged or involved in that. So, and it has to be at every step of decision making. So if there are 5 steps to a process and there's a decision making involved in each of those steps, bigger steps, I would say the oversight is required in each step and not just at the last step or something like that, because that would make a lot of difference. And this decision making of AI should heavily rely on big amount of data, etc. So if you do not have that considerable amount of data set, then possibly, yes, as I said, there will be more and more human oversight required, because AI may not be making the right decisions.
Okay, another big question is AI automation mainly about reducing employees or increasing what employees can do?
Both, I would say. For some of the tasks or some of the activities, for example, if the customer support team of say 20 people, where doing some of the task, and some part of that has been completely automated. Let's say you had L1, L2, L3 support. Now all the tasks of L1 support are almost automated. Then certainly you have the scope of reducing the workforce there. So you may be able to completely get rid of that entire L1 support team, and you may just need 1 or 2 people monitoring that everything is working fine. So that is one. The second thing can be AI can in some cases also let humans do more. So for example, for L2 support, let's say L1 support is something which was completely taken care of by the AI, but for L2 support you want your AI to only do an analysis and present the root cause to the support agent for them to take the next action. So in that case, AI is helping the employees do more, and for L1 support, AI is helping reduce the number of employees as well. So both.
Okay, lastly, if you were helping a business automate today, what would you automate first and why?
What would I automate first? I would certainly try and understand the business process. I would try and understand, maybe I would have a survey with the users, and I would try and understand what are the repetitive tasks where they spend most of their time and which seriously does not require any of their inputs. It's just that something that they have to do. Then based on the survey, I would figure out which are those tasks or activities which are consuming a lot of time, repeated tasks, do not require real manual intervention, etc. And then I would start my automation from there.
Yes, that's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you.